The stars twinkled in the cold vacuum of space as the Zethkari scout ship hovered at the edge of Earth's solar system. Inside, Commander Vexthal studied the holographic display of the blue-green planet with his 4 eyes. His scaled skin reflected the soft blue light of the control room as he flicked a long, thin finger across the display to zoom in on Earth's northern hemisphere. "Such a primitive species," he said to his science officer. "Their technology is barely past nuclear fission." "Yet they broadcast their presence so loudly," replied Science Officer Mekloth, adjusting the sensitivity of the long-range scanners. "Their radio waves have been detected in 3 neighboring systems." Vexthal nodded. "The humans were noisy, wasteful, and according to the Dominion standards, ripe for conquest." He sent his report to the Zethkari High Command. Earth was resource-rich but technologically inferior, the perfect target for expansion. 3 light-years away, Lieutenant John Mason sat in a cold metal chair in front of a bank of monitors at the SETI listening post in Alaska. The machines had picked up something strange, patterns in the background radiation that didn't match any known natural phenomenon. He sipped his coffee and rubbed his tired eyes. "You need to see this," he said to his colleague across the room. "I think we're getting a signal." Before his colleague could respond, all the screens in the room flickered. The signal had changed. It was stronger now, pulsing in a clear pattern that couldn't be natural. "Call Washington," John said, his voice suddenly dry. "Right now." In a conference room at NASA headquarters, Dr. Kate Phillips stared at the data printouts in disbelief. The signals were definitely artificial and definitely not from Earth. After decades of searching the stars for signs of intelligent life, first contact had finally happened, but something felt wrong. The signals weren't like a greeting or an attempt at communication, they were more like scans, as if someone was taking measurements. "They're mapping our defenses," said General Harris, the grim-faced Air Force officer, who had been quietly sitting at the end of the table. "These aren't friendly visitors." Kate wanted to disagree, to hold on to the hope that first contact would be peaceful, but the evidence was pointing in a troubling direction. The signal patterns matched tactical scans, not attempts at communication. The International Space Station was the first to see them. Astronaut Paul Webb was doing routine maintenance on the solar panels when he spotted something through his helmet visor. A dark shape moving against the stars, too fast and too controlled to be space debris. He called it in to Mission Control, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Houston, we have an unknown object approaching the station. It's not one of ours." The object slowed as it approached the ISS. It was sleek and angular, with a metallic surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Paul realized with a shock that he was looking at something not built by human hands. The alien ship hovered less than 100 meters from the space station. For a moment everything was still. Then a bright beam of energy shot out from the front of the alien vessel. The ISS shuddered as the beam cut through the habitat module like it was made of paper. Warning alarms blared throughout the station as air rushed out into the vacuum of space. Mission Control lost contact with the ISS 4 minutes later. In the Oval Office, the president watched the satellite footage of the attack with a face carved from stone. The room was silent except for the soft hum of air conditioning and the occasional murmur from the military advisors gathered around the desk. "They just destroyed our space station without warning or provocation," she said quietly. "Is this an invasion?" Her question was answered 30 minutes later when radar stations around the world detected multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. The Zethkari invasion fleet had arrived, expecting an easy conquest of a primitive world. They had no idea what they were in for. In his apartment in Phoenix, Captain Steve Rodriguez was packing a bag when his phone rang. His unit was being mobilized immediately. Outside his window, he could see strange lights in the sky, moving in formation. Humanity's greatest test had begun. The early morning sky above Phoenix glowed with eerie green light as the Zethkari ships descended through the clouds. Captain Steve Rodriguez watched from the roof of a gas station as 3 disc-shaped vessels hovered over the desert outside the city. His squad of 20 soldiers crouched behind sandbags and overturned trucks, their weapons ready but looking pitifully small compared to the alien craft. "Remember, we're just here to slow them down," Steve said into his radio. Hit and run. Don't try to be a hero. The first alien troops emerged from their ships. They were tall, with skin that shimmered like fish scales. Their armor gleamed in the morning sun, and they carried weapons that looked like twisted metal vines. Six-fingered hands gripped these strange guns as the aliens moved with surprising grace despite the Earth's gravity. "Wait for my signal," Steve whispered, watching through binoculars as the aliens formed neat rows. They were acting like this was a parade, not an invasion. They didn't even scan the buildings for threats. When the aliens were fully exposed, Steve gave the order. "Fire!" The sound of gunfire shattered the morning calm. The first row of alien soldiers fell, clearly surprised by the attack. Their shields activated a moment too late. The aliens scattered, firing back with weapons that shot blue energy bolts that melted everything they touched. "Fall back," Steve ordered as alien fire tore through their position. His soldiers retreated in pairs just as they had practiced. The aliens pursued but moved cautiously now. Steve's team led the aliens into a narrow canyon where more soldiers waited. When the aliens entered the trap, explosives buried in the canyon walls detonated. Rocks crashed down, crushing alien soldiers and blocking their retreat. The battle lasted less than 15 minutes. When it was over, 27 alien soldiers lay dead or wounded. Steve had lost 2 of his own. "They can die," he reported back to command. "But their weapons are like nothing we've seen, and they learn fast." Similar scenes played out across the globe. In Moscow, London, Beijing, and 100 other places, humanity fought back against the invaders. The aliens had better technology, but humans knew the terrain and fought with desperate courage. In a secure bunker beneath the Pentagon, Colonel Diane Foster studied the reports from these first engagements. A map on the wall showed red dots where alien ships had landed. Too many dots. "They're establishing beachheads near major cities," she explained to the gathered military leaders. "But they're not fighting like we expected. They're acting like this is a training exercise. They're arrogant," said an army general. "They think this will be easy." "Good," Diane replied. "Let's make them regret that." She outlined her strategy. No large-scale battles where alien technology would give them the advantage. Instead, she proposed guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run attacks, and a focus on capturing alien technology. At MIT, Dr. Alan Wright had already started analyzing pieces of alien equipment recovered from a crashed scout ship. Under a powerful microscope, he examined what appeared to be a power cell. "It's incredible," he told his colleagues. "This generates energy through some kind of controlled quantum reaction. If we can understand this, we might be able to disrupt their shields." 3 days into the invasion, the Zethkari commander Vexthal was growing frustrated. He paced the command deck of his flagship, watching tactical displays that showed another human counterattack. "How are they still fighting?" he demanded of his officers. "We control their orbital space. We have superior weapons and armor. They should be surrendering by now." "The humans appear to value freedom over survival," his tactical officer replied. "And they are surprisingly adaptable." Vexthal had conquered 6 worlds for the Dominion. None had resisted like this. The humans refused to fight conventional battles. They struck from hiding, then disappeared before the Zethkari could respond in force. Most troubling was how quickly humans were learning. They had already started using captured Zethkari weapons. Reports indicated that human scientists were studying alien technology with remarkable speed. "They are not behaving as an inferior species should," Vexthal said quietly. "Send word to the Dominion. We may need reinforcements." As night fell over the ruins of what had once been downtown Phoenix, Steve Rodriguez and his team moved silently through the shadows. Ahead of them, an alien patrol walked confidently down the street, seemingly unaware that 30 pairs of human eyes watched them from the darkness. Steve gave the signal. The trap was set. The real war was just beginning. 3 months into the invasion, Earth had become a patchwork of occupied zones and fierce resistance. The Zethkari held several major cities, their ships hovering above skyscrapers like metal clouds. But they could not venture far from these strongholds without facing attack. Commander Vexthal stood before the High Council's holographic projection in his command center. The 6 elder Zethkari watched him with cold eyes. "Your reports are troubling," said Elder Kravnak, the eldest of the council. "A primitive species should not be able to resist this long." "The humans are not like our previous conquests," Vexthal explained. "They refuse to surrender even when defeat is certain. They adapt to our tactics faster than any species we have encountered." "Are you saying these mammals are superior to the Zethkari?" another elder asked, voice sharp with anger. "Not superior," Vexthal said carefully. "Different. They evolved as predators on a harsh world. They think differently than we do." The council did not look pleased, but they approved his request for reinforcements. As the hologram faded, Vexthal turned to his tactical display. Another human attack had destroyed a supply depot in what they called Texas. On a small island off the coast of Seattle, Navy SEAL Frank Carter and his team prepared for their most dangerous mission yet. They had trained for weeks, studying alien movements and testing new equipment developed from captured alien tech. "This is our one shot," Frank told his team as they gathered around a makeshift table. "We get in, grab their communication device, and get out. Dr. Johnson thinks she can use it to tap into their network." The team moved out at midnight, their small boat cutting through the dark water toward the alien base on the mainland. They wore modified diving suits with heat-masking technology that Dr. Wright had developed to hide from alien sensors. The alien guard post stood 20 feet tall, its metal walls gleaming under the moonlight. 2 Zethkari soldiers patrolled. Outside, their attention focused outward, not expecting an attack from the water. Frank gave the signal. His sniper took out both guards with tranquilizer darts, modified to penetrate alien scales. The team moved in silently, attaching climbing gear to the smooth metal walls. Inside, the base was surprisingly warm and filled with a sweet smell that reminded Frank of overripe fruit. The team followed their memorized map to the communication center. 2 more guards fell to their silent weapons. "Got it," whispered Sam, the team's tech expert, as he disconnected a crystal-like device from the alien console. "Let's move." The alarm sounded just as they reached the outer wall. Alien shouts echoed behind them as they rappelled down and sprinted for the water. Energy bolts struck the ground around them, turning sand to glass. All 8 team members made it to the boat. As they sped away into the darkness, Frank allowed himself a small smile. Phase 1 of Colonel Foster's plan was complete. At a hidden base beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lisa Johnson connected the stolen communication device to her computer system. Her fingers flew over the keyboard as she worked to decipher the alien language. "It's working," she said after 3 days of non-stop effort. "I can access their combat network. They're sending messages to their homeworld." Colonel Foster leaned over her shoulder, reading the translated text. Her eyes widened, slightly. "They're afraid of us," she said, surprise in her voice. "Look at this message from their commander." The translated text described humans as irrationally persistent and evolutionarily predisposed to warfare. It warned that humans employed deceptive tactics and seemed to value victory over self-preservation. "They don't understand why. We keep fighting," Dr. Johnson said. "Good," Foster replied. "Let's show them what happens when you corner a species that evolved as apex predators." In the ruins of Chicago, Captain Steve Rodriguez led a combined force of military and civilian fighters against an alien patrol. The humans used the rubble for cover, striking quickly then melting away before the aliens could respond. Steve watched as his people used captured alien weapons alongside human guns. 3 months ago, the aliens' technology had seemed magical. Now humans were not only using it but improving on it. As night fell and his team celebrated another victory, Steve looked up at the stars. The aliens thought they were winning because they held some cities. They didn't understand that humans would never stop fighting, never stop learning, never stop adapting. The real war was just beginning, and Earth was about to teach the Zethkari a lesson they would never forget. 6 months after the alien ships first appeared in Earth's skies, the tide of war had begun to turn. Human scientists had reverse-engineered enough alien technology to level the playing field. Soldiers now carried weapons that could penetrate Zethkari shields, and military vehicles had been modified with salvaged alien parts. Major William Hayes stood on a ridge overlooking a valley in the Rocky Mountains. Below him, alien ships moved into position, following the trail of false information his team had planted in their communication network. "They took the bait," he said into his radio. "All units, prepare to engage on my mark." The plan was simple but dangerous. Lure the aliens into the narrow valley, then trigger the hidden weapons on both slopes. The aliens had fallen for similar traps before, but they were learning quickly. This time might be different. William raised his binoculars and watched as 5 alien transport ships descended into the valley, surrounded by smaller fighter craft. He waited until they were deep in the trap before giving the command. Now! Hidden panels in the rock face slid open, revealing missile launchers and energy, weapons captured from the aliens. The barrage caught the Zethkari ships from both sides at once. 3 transports exploded immediately. The remaining 2 tried to climb out of the valley but were hit by electromagnetic pulses that disabled their engines. As the disabled ships crashed to the ground, human soldiers emerged from hidden bunkers to capture any survivors. It was a complete victory. "Command, this is Hayes," William said into his radio. "Operation Mountain Thunder is a success. 5 enemy transports down, minimal casualties on our side." Similar victories were happening around the world as humanity launched its counteroffensive. The Zethkari, who had expected a quick conquest, were now fighting for survival. Out in the Pacific Ocean, a surprise awaited the aliens. The USS Gerald, Ford carrier group, which the Zethkari believed they had destroyed in the first week of the invasion, emerged from hiding. Its ships had been modified with alien technology and stealth systems that made them invisible to enemy sensors. "Commander, Grace Martinez stood on the bridge of the carrier as it approached an alien supply ship. The aliens had become overconfident in their control of Earth's oceans, never expecting an attack from what they thought was a defeated navy. "All hands, prepare for boarding action," Grace ordered. Her team of Naval Special Forces had trained for months for this moment. Their mission, capture an intact alien vessel. As the carrier launched its fighters to provide cover, Grace led her boarding team onto a transport helicopter. They wore armor made from modified alien materials and carried weapons that could pierce Zethkari defenses. The alien ship never saw them coming. By the time its crew realized they were under attack, Grace's team had already cut through the hull and entered the ship. The aliens fought bravely but were unprepared for close combat with humans who had studied their weaknesses. "Engine room. Secured," reported Lieutenant Joe Wilson over the radio. "We have control of the ship." Grace made her way to the bridge, where the alien captain was being held at gunpoint. The Zethkari officer looked at her with all 4 of his eyes, mandibles clicking, and what she had learned was a sign of distress. "You fight like no species we have ever encountered," the alien said in halting English. They had been learning human languages, just as humans had been learning theirs. "You invaded our home," Grace replied simply. "We'll never stop fighting as long as you're here." The captured ship contained navigation data for the entire Zethkari fleet. Within hours, human forces were launching coordinated attacks on alien positions worldwide. In his flagship orbiting Earth, Commander Vexthal received the reports with growing alarm. His forces were being pushed back on all fronts. Humans were using Zethkari technology against them, sometimes in ways the Zethkari themselves had never considered. "How is this possible?" he asked his intelligence officer. 6 months ago, they could barely reach their own moon. "They adapt faster than any species we have encountered," the officer replied. "And they are willing to take risks that would be unthinkable to our kind." Vexthal stared at the tactical display showing another human victory. He had severely underestimated these creatures. The High Council would not be pleased. On the ground, Steve Rodriguez watched as his troops secured another captured alien position. The fear he had felt during those first terrifying days of the invasion was gone now. In its place was determination. Humanity would win this war not because they had better technology or greater numbers, but because they refused to lose. The aliens were about to learn why attacking Earth was a one-way trip. Dr. Kate Phillips approached the holding cell with mixed feelings. Inside was the first alien prisoner who had agreed to talk. The government facility deep underground in Nevada housed several captured Zethkari, but this one, a scientist named Zentarik, was different. He wanted to understand humans as much as they wanted to understand his kind. 2 armed guards opened the door for her. The room inside was kept warmer than humans found comfortable, with slightly higher humidity. Zentarik sat at a metal table, his 4-fingered hands folded in front of him. His scales shimmered with a greenish tint under the lights. "Good morning, Dr. Phillips," the alien said in careful English. After 8 months of war, both sides had learned enough of each other's languages for basic communication. "Good morning, Zentarik," Kate replied, placing her tablet on the table. "I'd like to continue our discussion about your species' history today." The alien tilted his head, a gesture Kate had learned meant agreement. "You humans are unlike any species we have encountered. I wish to understand why." Over the next few hours, Kate learned more about the Zethkari and their empire. They had conquered 17 other alien civilizations, none of which had offered significant resistance. The Zethkari expanded across the stars not through cooperation but through domination. "Your people evolved on a world with few predators," Kate said, reviewing her notes. "Your ancestors never had to run from danger or fight for survival against larger creatures." "This is correct," Zentarik confirmed. "Our world was gentle. Food was plentiful. We developed intelligence to compete with each other, not to survive external threats." Kate thought about Earth, a planet where early humans had survived by outsmarting faster, stronger predators, where starvation and hardship had been constant companions throughout history, where warfare had driven much of technological development. "You have never encountered a Death World species before, have you?" she asked. Zentarik's scales rippled, a sign of discomfort. "No. In our classification system, Earth would be considered a Class 9 death world. High gravity, extreme climate variations, numerous apex predators, virulent diseases. We did not believe intelligent life could evolve in such conditions." Kate shared this information with Professor Edward Miller, who specialized in evolutionary psychology. In his cramped office at Harvard, now converted to a research center for the war effort, the professor developed a theory. "Humans are persistence hunters," he explained to Colonel Foster during a briefing. "Our ancestors didn't kill with claws or fangs. They chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We evolved to never give up, to keep going when any reasonable creature would stop." "And the Zethkari didn't evolve that way," Foster said, understanding dawning on her face. "Exactly. They expect resistance to crumble when faced with superior force. They can't comprehend why we keep fighting when, by their logic, we've already lost." This insight proved invaluable as Foster's intelligence team analyzed captured Zethkari records. They discovered the aliens' homeworld had developed without significant competition between species. The Zethkari had never faced extinction-level threats or evolved to handle the kind of stress humans dealt with routinely. When Kate asked Zentarik about Zethkari warfare, his answer confirmed their theories. "Combat for us is strategic. When defeat becomes probable, surrender is logical. It preserves lives and resources," the alien explained. "Your people fight even when victory seems impossible. You accept terrible losses to inflict even minor damage on our forces. This behavior makes no sense to us. It's called hope," Kate said simply. "And desperation. When we're backed into a corner, humans don't give up. We fight harder." Zentarik's scales darkened, a sign Kate had learned meant deep thought. "I have studied your history since my capture. Your people have nearly destroyed yourselves many times with your own weapons. Yet you always rebuild. You survive plagues, nuclear disasters, climate catastrophes. We're stubborn," Kate said with a small smile. "No," Zentarik replied, his voice solemn. "You are terrifying. The High Command does not understand what they are facing. Humans don't fight like other species because evolution shaped you differently. You were forged in fire." As Kate left the holding facility that evening, she thought about Zentarik's words. The Zethkari had invaded Earth expecting an easy victory over a technologically inferior species. Instead, They had awakened a planet of apex predators who would never stop fighting as long as they drew breath. The aliens were finally beginning to understand why no invader had ever succeeded in conquering Earth. Why attacking this blue world was truly a one-way trip. After 9 months of increasingly costly warfare, the Zethkari High Council had run out of patience. Reports showed their invasion force losing ground on all fronts. Humans were not only resisting but actually pushing the alien forces back. The space around Earth shimmered as 5 massive warships emerged from faster-than-light travel. The reinforcements had arrived, and with them came War Master Krogalath, the most decorated military commander in the Dominion's history. Aboard the flagship, Commander Vexthal stood at attention as Krogalath entered the command center. The War Master was taller than most Zethkari, his scales a deep purple that signified his elite status. Scars crisscrossed his face, evidence of battles fought across the stars. "Your reports are disturbing," Krogalath said without greeting. "How could a pre-spaceflight civilization resist our forces for this long?" "The humans are unlike any species we have encountered," Vexthal explained. They are mammals with primitive technology," Krogalath interrupted. "And you have failed to subjugate them. I am taking command, effective immediately." Vexthal's scales paled, a sign of shame among his kind. "I advise caution, War Master. These humans will learn what happens when they defy the Dominion," Krogalath finished. "I have brought our elite forces. We will crush their resistance swiftly and completely." From the moment Krogalath took command, the war changed. The new alien leader had no interest in occupation. His goal was to break human resistance by any means necessary. Alien ships targeted power plants, water treatment facilities, and food distribution centers. They attacked civilian targets without warning. In a hidden bunker beneath Seattle, Colonel Diane Foster reviewed the latest reports with a grim expression. The attacks on civilian targets had caused terrible suffering, but they had also united humanity like never before. Former enemies now fought side by side against the alien threat. "They think they can break our spirit," she told her staff. "But they don't understand that attacking our people only makes us fight harder." The colonel's words proved true. As the aliens escalated their attacks, human resistance grew stronger. People who had hidden during the early months of the invasion now joined the fight. Every brutal alien action created new recruits for the resistance. Lieutenant Susan Clark worked in what had once been a university physics lab. Now it was part of the global effort to develop countermeasures against alien technology. Her team had been studying the Zethkari communication systems for months. "I think I've found a way in," she told her supervisor, holding up a circuit board, connected to a modified satellite dish. "Their ships use a form of quantum entanglement for instant communication, but the signal has to pass through normal space before reaching the entangled particles." "And that's where we can intercept it?" Susan nodded. "Better than that. We can use their own civilian satellites against them, the commercial network they ignore. We can reprogram those satellites to transmit a signal that disrupts their shields." The discovery spread quickly through the human resistance network. Scientists around the world built on Susan's work, finding new ways to exploit weaknesses in alien technology. In his cell, Zentarik watched the news reports of the escalating conflict with growing concern. When Dr. Phillips visited him, he seemed agitated. "You must speak with your leaders," he said urgently. "War Master Krogalath is dangerous. He has authorization to use planetary sterilization weapons if conventional tactics fail." Kate felt the blood drain from her face. "Sterilization weapons? You mean he would kill everyone?" "The Dominion values resources, not life forms," Zentarik explained. "If Krogalath decides Earth cannot be conquered, he will ensure no one else can have it either." "How much time do we have?" "Days, perhaps. I wish to help prevent this. I no longer believe in the Dominion's ways." Kate stared at the alien in shock. "You want to defect?" "I want to stop a massacre," Zentarik replied. "And I have information that may help your people survive what is coming." As Kate rushed to inform Colonel Foster of this development, Captain Steve Rodriguez and his team infiltrated an alien base near Chicago. They moved silently through the corridors, planting explosives at key points. A Zethkari patrol rounded the corner, and Steve signaled his team to freeze. The aliens passed within feet of them, not noticing the humans thanks to their new stealth technology. Outside the base, resistance fighters prepared for the synchronized attack that would hit alien positions worldwide. Humanity was ready to show the Zethkari that they had made a fatal mistake in escalating this war. Earth was not just another conquest. It was home to a species that would never surrender. The massive alien weapon moved slowly into position above Earth. It was unlike any ship humans had seen before, a dark metal sphere surrounded by rotating rings that glowed with strange energy. From his flagship, War Master Krogalath watched, with cold satisfaction. The planet below had defied the Dominion for too long. "The sterilization device is at 90% charge," reported his weapons officer. "It will be ready to deploy in 3 hours." "Excellent," Krogalath replied. "Send the final ultimatum to their leaders. Complete surrender, or we cleanse this world of all higher life forms." In the United Nations emergency headquarters beneath the Swiss Alps, world leaders received the alien message. The holographic projection showed Krogalath's scarred face as he delivered his terms. "You have 6 hours to surrender unconditionally," the alien commander stated. "After that time, we will deploy a weapon that will eliminate all complex life on your planet. The choice is yours." Colonel Diane Foster stood beside the Secretary General as the message ended. "They're not bluffing," she said quietly. "Our captured alien scientist confirmed they have this capability." "Can we stop it?" asked the Secretary General. Foster nodded. "We have a plan, but it's risky. Commander Ellis and his team are preparing now." Commander Ryan Ellis had once been an astronaut. Now he led a hastily assembled team of pilots, scientists, and soldiers on what might be humanity's last mission. They gathered in a hangar deep underground, where a modified alien shuttle waited. "This is what we've trained for," Ryan told his team of 12 men and women. "Dr. Johnson's virus should disable their computer systems long enough for us to reach the weapon. Once aboard, we plant the charges and get out." "And if we can't get out?" asked one of his pilots. Ryan met her eyes steadily. "Then we make sure the job gets done anyway." The shuttle launched from a hidden base in the Rockies, using technology developed by Dr. Lisa Johnson to mask its approach. On board, the team checked their weapons and equipment. They wore modified spacesuits with alien technology incorporated into the design. As they approached the massive weapon platform, alarms suddenly blared through the ship. "They've detected us," called the pilot. "Holding pattern broken." "Stay on course," Ryan ordered. "All that matters is getting aboard that weapon." Enemy fighters swarmed toward them. The shuttle's defenses fired automatically, destroying 2 alien craft, but more kept coming. Ryan felt the ship shudder as enemy fire struck their shields. "Shields at 40%, reported the systems officer. "We can't take much more of this." Just then, dozens of small objects streaked past their viewport. Missiles launched from Earth using the alien technology humans had adapted. The unexpected attack scattered the enemy fighters, creating an opening. "Now!" Ryan shouted. "Full thrust!" The shuttle shot forward, aiming for a docking port near the bottom of the weapon platform. They hit hard, the magnetic clamps engaging just as their shields failed completely. "Everyone move," Ryan ordered as the airlock cycled. "Time to make these aliens regret ever coming to Earth." Meanwhile, on the ground, humanity launched its final offensive. Every remaining military unit, every resistance cell, every armed civilian group attacked alien positions simultaneously. The coordinated assault overwhelmed the alien forces, who could not defend against attacks coming from all directions at once. Captain Steve Rodriguez led a team into the heart of the alien stronghold, in what had once been downtown Chicago. They fought their way through alien defenders, moving deeper into the complex where the local command center was located. "Almost there," Steve called to his team as they reached the central chamber. "Plant the charges," and he stopped as the door slid open, revealing not an alien command center but a massive power core. Understanding dawned on his face. "This isn't just a command post," he told his team. It's a ground-based power relay for their weapon. Take it out. In orbit, Ryan and his team fought their way through the alien weapon platform. They lost 3 people in the first 5 minutes but kept moving forward, planting explosive charges. At key points, command center ahead, said his lieutenant, checking a handheld scanner. Heavy resistance. Ryan nodded grimly. This ends today, one way or another. As he led the charge into the heart of the alien weapon, Ryan thought about Earth below, about all the people fighting and dying to protect their home. The aliens had never understood what they were up against. They thought superior technology would guarantee victory. They didn't realize that humans, backed into a corner, were the most dangerous force in the galaxy. The final battle for Earth had begun. Commander Ryan Ellis fought his way through the alien weapon platform, losing more team members with each passing minute. Only he and 2 others remained by the time they reached the central control chamber. The massive room was filled with strange technology, all centered around a pulsing blue core. Plant the charges, Ryan ordered as they secured the room. His engineer rushed to the core while his security officer guarded the door. Humans! War Master Krogalath entered the chamber, flanked by 4 elite guards. You surprise me even now. I did not expect any of your kind to reach this far. We're full of surprises, Ryan replied, raising his weapon. Stand down and withdraw your forces from Earth. The alien commander made a sound that might have been laughter. Even at the end, you make demands. Your species is truly remarkable. It is almost a shame to exterminate you. The 2 sides opened fire simultaneously. Ryan's security officer fell immediately, but not before taking down 2 alien guards. Ryan dove behind a console as energy bolts scorched the air around him. Charges set, called his engineer. 2 minutes to detonation. On the ground, Captain Steve Rodriguez and his team had planted explosives throughout the alien power relay station in Chicago. They fought their way back toward the exit, but alien reinforcements blocked their path. We're cut off, his sergeant reported, ducking behind a fallen column as alien fire peppered their position. Steve checked the detonator in his hand. The charges would destroy the relay station, disrupting the power flow to the orbital weapon. But if they couldn't escape the blast radius? Everyone, he said over the team radio. It's been an honor. Wait, his communications specialist called. I'm picking up unusual activity in the alien network. Their systems are failing. Across the globe, alien technology began to malfunction. Ships lost power, weapons shut down, and communication networks went silent. Dr. Lisa Johnson's virus, uploaded into the alien systems through their own quantum communication network, was working. In her lab, Lisa watched the virus spread through alien systems worldwide. It worked, she whispered, hardly believing it. They never thought to protect against this kind of attack. The virus gave Steve's team the opening they needed. With alien weapons suddenly offline, they broke through the enemy lines and escaped the relay station. Behind them, the explosives detonated, destroying the power source for the orbital weapon. Aboard the weapon platform, Ryan was down to his last magazine when the lights flickered and died. The alien computer systems shut down as the virus reached them. In the sudden darkness, only the emergency lights and the pulsing blue core remained active. Your tactics are impressive, Krogalath admitted as he and Ryan faced each other in the dim light. But the weapon core is isolated. It will still fire. Not if I have anything to say about it, Ryan replied. He rushed the alien commander, tackling him to the ground. They fought hand to hand, human against alien, as the detonation timer counted. Down. Ryan's remaining team member called out to him. Commander, we need to go, 30 seconds. Get out of here, Ryan shouted back, still grappling with Krogalath. That's an order. As his last team member reluctantly escaped toward their shuttle, Ryan pinned the alien commander against the weapon core. You never understood us, Ryan said, breathing hard. Humans don't fight because we want to win. We fight because we refuse to lose. The charges detonated, destroying the weapon platform in a massive explosion visible from Earth's surface. 3. Months later, Dr. Kate Phillips stood beside Zentarik as they watched the captured alien ships being dismantled. The remaining Zethkari forces on Earth had surrendered after the destruction of their command structure and the failure of their ultimate weapon. "My people have sent messages to the Dominion," Zentarik said. "They have declared Earth a prohibited zone. No Zethkari ship will ever approach this system again." "They learned their lesson," Kate replied. "More than you know," the alien said. "In all of our recorded history, only 3 planets have been classified as unconquerable. Earth is now the 3rd. At the new United Nations headquarters in Geneva, Colonel Diane Foster addressed the Global Council. The war had changed everything. National boundaries mattered less now that humanity had faced extinction together. "We have the technology now," she told the assembled leaders. "We can reach the stars. The question is, what will we do when we get there?" In orbit, the first human-built starship prepared for its maiden voyage. Its hull incorporated both human ingenuity and alien technology. On its side was painted its name, UNSC Defiance. Across the galaxy, in a distant monitoring station, an alien observer detected the activation of an FTL drive near Earth. It immediately transmitted an emergency message to all listening posts. "They're coming. The Earthers have learned to travel between stars. May the ancestors,